St. Paul and the rest of Minnesota got their first look at big league stars in 1961, when an American League franchise was moved here. But now, 4 years later, the entire baseball firmament suddenly has opened to Minnesota fans, because here today are all the brightest stars of both major leagues. It's the annual All Star Game. Willie Mays of the Giants heads a group of National Leaguers, including Billy Williams and Ernie Banks of the Cubs, Johnny Callison of the Phillies, Ed Kranepool of the Mets, and Maury Wills of the Dodgers. Sandy Koufax, the Dodger lefty, who's so brilliant, rivals say he should be in a league of his own. Cincinnati's Jim Maloney chats briefly with Koufax. Maloney once fanned 8 in a row, one of the few strikeout records Sandy doesn't hold. The players get ready for batting practice. Catcher Joe Torre of the Braves. Another Brave, Hank Aaron, takes his cuts. Next is the Phillies' Richie Allen, and also Johnny Callison. Banks starts off the Cubs, then Ron Santo, the star third baseman, and pitcher-swinging Billy Williams. Willie Stargell of the Pirates. Roberto Clemente, National League batting champion. Frank Robinson, Cincinnati's star slugger. Ed Kranepool of the amazing Mets. Wills, the Dodger Swiftie, stands by. Don Drysdale, the other half of the Dodgers' pair of aces. Now the American Leaguers. Bobby Richardson of the Yankees. Another Yankee, catcher Elston Howard. Zoilo Versalles, Minnesota's spectacular shortstop. Tony Oliva, who won the league batting title as a rookie. Powerhouse Harmon Killebrew, the home run champion of the Twins. Jimmy Hall, fourth member of Minnesota's Murderers Row. Dick McAuliffe, Detroit shortstop, who hits with power. Willie Horton, a new star with Detroit. Bill Freehan, the fine young Tiger catcher. Al Kaline, Detroit's greatest star of recent years. Brooks Robinson, Baltimore's spectacular third baseman. Vic Davalillo, Cleveland's fleet-footed center fielder. Gene Mauch of the Phillies will lead the National Leaguers. Al Lopez of the White Sox will manage the American Leaguers. Today's contest is the 36th since the All-Star Game was inaugurated in Chicago back in 1933. And at the moment, it's dead even, with each league having 17 victories so far, while one of the Midsummer Dream games ended in a 1-1 deadlock in 1961 when it was stopped by rain. The umpires are at the plate, and they come to attention with the players and fans for the national anthem. With the new left field stands expanding capacity, a record crowd of 46,706 crams every inch of Metropolitan Stadium. The plate huddle breaks up. The coaches are ready, and Milt Pappas, the American League starter, takes his final warm-up pitches.
Now the starting lineup, batting first and playing center field from the San Francisco Giants. Here is Willie Mays. Batting second and playing right field from the Milwaukee Braves. Here is Hank Aaron. He'll be in right field batting second. Aaron. Willie Stargell playing left field from the Pittsburgh Pirates and batting third. Willie Stargell. Here is Richie Allen, who will be batting fourth and playing third base. Richie Allen. Joe Torre batting fifth and catching from the Milwaukee Braves. Joe Torre. Ernie Banks batting sixth from the Chicago Cubs, playing first base. Here is Pete Rose, the second baseman. He'll be batting seventh from the Cincinnati Reds. Maury Wills from the Los Angeles Dodgers, batting eighth and playing shortstop. Maury Wills. And there is Juan Marichal, the pitcher who just threw the ball, number 27. That's Juan Marichal, who will be the starting pitcher. So there you have the National League. Here's the starting lineup for the American League. Batting first and playing shortstop from the Detroit Tigers, Dick McAuliffe. Dick McAuliffe. Batting second, Brooks Robinson, playing third base from the Baltimore Orioles. Harmon Killebrew from the Minnesota Twins. He'll be batting third and playing first base. Batting fourth, playing right field from the Cleveland Indians, Rocky Colavito. Batting fifth, playing left field, Willie Horton from the Detroit Tigers. Batting sixth, playing second base from the Boston Red Sox. Here is Felix Mantilla. Batting seventh and playing center field, Vic Davalillo. from the Cleveland Indians. He'll be in center field. Batting eighth, there is Earl Batty, the catcher from the Minnesota Twins, Earl Batty. And pitching for the American League All-Stars will be Milt Pappas. There you see him as he just delivers a warm-up pitch.
Well, here's Say Hey Willie Mays, the center fielder leading off. A rather strange spot for Willie, but things of that sort don't shake him up at all. All he knows, he's got a bat in his hands, and there's someone out there about to throw a ball for him to hit. A well-hit ball. Avalillo is going to get it, evidently, the way he's moving by the fence, but it may be gone, and it is. That's the way the ball game starts. Well, that's the way the 1965 All-Star Game starts. Avalillo went back to the fence as though he had a play. But Mays socked one out of here, and Joe had told you earlier that it's a hitter's ballpark, and Willie Mays backed you up, Joe.
Second pitch, and Willie gets the fat of the bat on this one. It's deep to left center. Davalillo sprints back, but it's in there for a home run. A 400-foot drive. That's the third All-Star homer for Mays, who has dominated these Midsummer Classics along with Stan Musial and Ted Williams. The homer was his 21st hit in All-Star competition for a new record he previously shared with Musial.
Jack, the ball seems to jump out of here. It has to be a thing where you keep that ball low, you get about the belt high, and it's a high pitch, and it'll just jump out of here. It's a hitter's ballpark. Good background and nice light air for these guys.
The batter now is Hank Aaron. He's hitting .326. A bit disappointed in his showing so far this year. Only .344 down the line in the left. There's a fly ball to left field. It's going to be caught by Willie Horton. A few of the fans groaned. They thought it was 2-0. But Willie Horton caught it for the first out of the ballgame.
As soon as the home run is hit, Willie Mays' home run was hit 415 feet. They have that left field section all marked with the distances, so the minute the ball lands, they know exactly where the ball, how far it traveled.
Served up the home run ball, and here's Willie Stargell, who takes him on now. And now back to Stargell, and there's a base hit to center field as he stroked it cleanly to center. Well, these National Leaguers are jumping on Pappas in the first inning. That's their second hit. Into the Philadelphia Phillies, Richie Allen, batting .328.
Jack, I think the first six fellas in the National League lineup have batted cleanup for their own teams at one time or another.
It's out there. 1-1 the count to Allen. That's popped up. He got him for the second out, and Dick McAuliffe is going to get it. And there are two out. Allen popped out to short. The catcher, Joe Torre. Joe's hit 17 home runs this year. On a 2-0 count, he'll be looking for a ball to pull. There it goes, high and down the line. Horton back, that's gone if it's fair. And it is a home run, and it's 3-0. Torre golfed one high into the air and just inside the line, scoring Stargell ahead of him. And Milt Pappas of Baltimore has been greeted with 2 home runs and a single, and the American League is 3 runs down at the moment.
With Willie Stargell on first and 2 out, Torrey ties into the next pitch and pulls it down the left field line. Here's another long blast. Willie Horton starts back toward the fence, but there's no chance. The ball sails into the seats just inside the foul pole for the second home run off Milt Pappas. Stargell, the big Pittsburgh outfielder, trots on home. And here comes Torrey into the plate to be greeted by Ernie Banks of the Cubs and Stargell. And the National League has jumped away to a 3-0 lead.
Power in this lineup.
Talking with Marshall, there's the blast again by Torrey. He really got out in front and pulled that ball. And now Ernie Banks drills a line drive to left for a base hit in front of Horton. And that is the 4th hit of the inning. Ernie Banks singles with 2 men out. Here's Pete Rose. Pete having a great year. .299 is his batting average. That caught them. Whoever wins here will go out in front. And if it's the National League, it'll be the first time that they have ever led in the series. Banks will go again. And Rose takes ball 4. So there are 2 on and 2 out. And the 8th man to bat for the National League will come to the plate. Here is Maury Wills. Maury's going to have to be swinging away here. Batting .275. Ordinarily, you don't know what to expect from him at the plate. He's a switch hitter also. But with 2 out and the pitcher coming up next, he'll have to go for that full swing, and he taps it back to Pappas, and the inning is going to be over. Even Wills can't beat that one out. And so the National League gets 3 runs on 4 hits, and they leave 2 on. And the end of the first half inning, the score of the National League 3, the American League coming to bat.
Maury Wills is the 8th batter of the inning. Pappas keeps pumping away, and the Dodger shortstop bounces the ball straight back to the mound. The Baltimore hurler grabs it, tosses Wills out at first, and he's finally out of the inning.
Back the National League defense as the American Leaguers come to bat. First base, Ernie Banks. At second base, Pete Rose. At shortstop, it's Maury Wills. And at third base, Richie Allen. Around the outfield and left, it's Willie Stargell. Willie Mays in center. Hank Aaron in right. The catcher, Joe Torre. And Juan Marichal is on the mound. Marichal, a season's mark of 14-7. Coaches for the American League. It's Sam Mealy, the manager of the Twins, at first, and Don Gutteridge of the White Sox coaching at third. The leadoff hitter is Dick McAuliffe of the Tigers. Peppery little shortstop. Adds a lot of life to a ball club. 3-1. And it's a foul ball. There may be a play on it. Richie Allen, Maury Wills. Wills calls for it and has it. Brooks Robinson. He's hitting .229. A little bit off the pace he set last year. He was the most valuable player in the American League. Sidearm, curveball, and he popped it up into left center. Stargell coming in, Wills going out. Stargell calls for it and has it. 2 gone. Harmon really put these fans in the Twin City areas in the mood for this ball. And a fly ball for Willie Mays. You want to watch a basket catch? Attaboy, Will. 1, 2, 3, down they go. And so at the end of the first inning, the score of the National League 3, the American League nothing. Hitting, and he can swing the bat. Grant has come up with a much improved curveball. Right up the middle, base hit. Marichal just took a half swing, but happened to get good wood on the ball and smacked it past Grant into center field, and the National Leaguers are off and running again. Ball 4. So Willie is on twice. And the first 2 men have reached for the National League in the second inning. 2 on and nobody out. And Hank Aaron, who flied to left his first time, is the batter with the Twins. There's a bouncing ball. Maybe they'll get 2. Mantilla relays, they got them both. Ball wasn't sharply hit, so you didn't know if they'd be able to double up Aaron, who gets down to first base well. And Willie Stargell is the batter. Singled up the middle his first time. Before the game, there was a band beyond the center field fence 430 feet away. And Pete Rickard, the left-hander of Washington, is getting ready. 0-2 the count. There's Marichal with a lead. Stargell blasts one into right center. No one's going to get it, and it may be gone, and it is. Into the bullpen for a home run, making it 5-0. Willie Stargell joins Willie Mays and Joe Torre with a home run. That's the third of the game for the National Leaguers, and it's a 5-0 ball game.
With Juan Marichal on third and 2 out, Stargell hammers the ball into the bullpen in right center. It's a 400-foot homer for Stargell, who has developed into the big gun for the Pirates, leading them in homers as well as runs batted in. With Marichal scoring ahead of Willie, this is an important blow for the National League because it sends them winging out in front with a 5-0 margin.
Get away. So Grant is being treated as Pappas was. Curveball on Allen fans. So he's 0 for 2. And for the National League in the second, 2 runs on 2 hits. At the end of an inning and a half, the score of the National League 5, the American League nothing. There are no changes for the National League. They're in the field in the bottom of the second, and leading off, Rocky Colavito. Commenting on the pitch rather than the call, and it's 1-2. No matter what the count, you're liable to get any pitch from Marichal. Fastball, curveball, slider, change, screwball. He throws them all and he gets them all over. And he seldom gives you a ball to hit. Sidearm curve and an easy ground ball to Maury Wills, a big hop. 1 out. Quite an attraction in the American League. He may turn out to be one of the great sluggers of the game. Looks like power when he digs in. There's that bat way back. Fastball, ground ball, Wills. And there are 2 out. Ball cranks up another hurler. This is Felix Mantilla, batting .316. A tap, and Torrey is there. And a good grab with the bare hand, and Marshall has retired 6 in a row. And so at the end of the second inning, the score is the National League 5, the American League nothing.
Hitters will do different things to get the groove. Grant, as a pitcher, does it by tapping twice to get the right feel.
So the National League is trying to grab the lead against the American in games played for the first time. There's a curveball and a line drive to Brooks Robinson. Curveball, and he got it up, and Torrey. And here's the first baseman of the Chicago Cubs, Ernie Banks. He got a base hit his first time.
And things they wouldn't ordinarily be doing during the regular season.
2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out. Nobody on, and he got him on a breaking ball. That's the second strikeout of the ball game for Grant.
With 1 out in the National League 3rd inning, Mudcat Grant strikes out Ernie Banks. Grant, Minnesota's biggest winner, seems back in the groove.
Second pitcher will be, he thought it would be Maloney. Here's Pete Rose. He walked his first time up. It's not unusual for him. He really looks him over up there. He looked over a strike that time. And he got him. That's the 3rd strikeout. Batty had to tag him, missed him, throws to Killebrew, and that's it. Down in order go the National Leaguers for the first time. And so at the end of 2.5 innings, score of the National League 5, the American League nothing.
Pete Rose faces him next. The Mudcat cuts loose and strikes out the Cincinnati second baseman. Batty drops the ball but throws Rose out at first. Pete Rickard of Washington pitches for the American League in the 4th. And here's that man again. Willie Mays is at the plate. Under the circumstances, Batty isn't in any rush to resume action.
Hitting .321. The third baseman, Richie Allen, guarding against the bunt. Hits it up the middle, and there's the first hit for the American League. Davalillo is an interesting little character. He used to be a pitcher. And now, another favorite of the Twins, their catcher, Earl Batty. Double play ball to Wills, to Rose, 2 out. An easy double play on a ball hit by Batty. Wills to Rose to Banks. Al Kaline of the Tigers.
Chiropractor's delight, this guy.
3-2 to Kaline, pinch hitting. And great stop by Allen. He threw him out. Allen made a good play behind third base to get the pinch hitter Al Kaline. No runs and 1 hit.
Good catcher. High. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Wills. Remember last week in Pittsburgh, they tried to stop him by loading up between first and second. Usually it's a pitch out that will stop him. They tried it with 4 wheelbarrows of dirt. And Maury said he got down to his ankles before he got the firm ground. Fly ball on the right field line. Colavito's got room and makes the catch. So Wills is out, and that's the first out. And here is Cookie Rojas.
Playing center field and second base. Pretty well knocked Tony Taylor out of the starting second base job with the Phillies.
5-0, the National League leading. There's one to center field that Davalillo is waiting for, and there are 2 outs. Rojas flies to Davalillo, 2 away, and here comes Willie Mays. The most base hits. He walked. out on strikes and politely lays his helmet and the bat at home plate. And so, at the end of 3.5 innings, the score, the National League 5 and the American League nothing.
Lays back for the pitch, takes that big long stride of his and swings with terrific power. But this time there's no contact. Wonderful Willie strikes out, which proves that he too is human after all. The National League still has a shutout going into the bottom of the fourth. Joe Torre goes out to talk with Cincinnati's Jim Maloney, the National League's next pitcher.
Line drive, right field, that's a base hit. Henry Aaron will have to cut it off. And McAuliffe is on with the second hit for the American League.
Dick McAuliffe leads off and looks to third base coach Don Gutteridge. Jim Maloney pitches and McAuliffe smashes a hit to right center field. Hank Aaron fields it rapidly and McAuliffe is held to a single.
Brooks Robinson. Fella says the big difference in
18. There's only 25 this year, Joe. It's not quite on the pace.
He got him on a fastball. Maloney gets his first strikeout. Robinson's had a bad thumb. She's strong, man. Take a look at this fella. Bob Addy had a great description of Killebrew. He says that Killebrew looks like an untapped beer keg.
He said no. He said not only here today, but during the regular season. He said he's broken himself of that habit. He calls all the balls and strikes himself.
He called that one. Curveball hangs inside. It's ball 4. McAuliffe goes to second base. Killebrew goes to first base. And the American League has something going here with Rocky Colavito, the hitter.
Maloney gets cautious with Harmon Killebrew. Goes to a full count. Then walks the big slugger to put 2 men on with none out.
Rocky is all American League fans. I was going to say, familiar with the ritual. Now he'll fix his cap to the right side. 2-2 pitch. Line drive, base hit. Here comes McAuliffe around to score. Killebrew stops at second as Mays gets the ball back. It's a 5-1 ball game. A fastball, and Colavito drives in the first run for the American League. There you see Colavito talking to Sam Mealy.
This is Rocky Colavito, and the star hitter from Cleveland cracks a single to center field. It brings Dick McAuliffe charging on home with the first run of the game for the American League.
Tremendous power on both sides. Bouncing ball to Banks. He's able to hold Killebrew at third base as he steps on first for the easy out. Killebrew had to remain at third, and of course Colavito remains at second. 2 outs. Mentia has 12 home runs, 59 runs batted in. Fly ball, center field. Willie Mays has the beat on it. When you see him tap that glove, you know he's got the radar on. That's the 3rd out. And so at the end of the 4th inning, the score is the National League 5, the American League 1. Top of the 5th inning, National League 5, the American League 1, and popped up. Brooks Robinson, Dick McAuliffe. Who's going to take charge? Now it's McAuliffe, and he makes the play. And they got him today. There's 1 out. Here is Willie Stargell, who singled to center field and scored, and then hit a 2-run homer in his 2nd inning. We are in the top half of the 5th inning. Struck him out on a curveball. Batty drops it, has to tag him. And here is Richie Allen. We'll have to wait and see. 5-1 is the score, top of the 5th, National League leading. Line drive, base hit into center field. Davaleo cuts it off, and Richie Allen has himself a single. Line hard to Brooks Robinson. This is the franchise, this Torre. He's one of those ball players. You almost want to stick him in a deep freeze overnight to make sure. Line drive. McAuliffe has it, and Joe Torre, who should be 3 for 3, has just made his second out. He has hit the ball hard every time up. So at the end of 4.5 innings, the score is National League 5, American League 1.
Joe and this fellow, Davalillo, plays winter ball on Venezuela.
Pops this one up. Ron Santo at third base. And there's one away. The protective helmet on the left side, the side facing the pitcher, coming all the way down past his ear. Puff. Pete Rose at second base has it. And Batty was out. Hitter. And like Earl Batty, he wears a protective helmet to cover the side. Ball 4. And Jim Hall draws a base on balls.
With 2 out of the American League 5th inning, Jimmy Hall bats for Rickard and draws a walk.
Loaded with hard throwers. Koufax, Drysdale, Maloney, Gibson. Only a home run threat. Here's one well hit. Willie Mays is going back, way back near the warning track, and leaps and can't get it. Home run. There it is, a home run for Dick McAuliffe. Dick McAuliffe has just made this a 5-3 ball game. McAuliffe hitting. Watch Willie Mays on this one. That was a ball well stroked. Mays gets way up there, but just couldn't get high enough.
If it could have been caught, he would have caught it.
Yes.
Maloney fires again, and McAuliffe rockets the ball deep to center. Willie Mays races back to the fence and tries to climb the wire to get the ball, but it's a home run. Hall scores, and then McAuliffe comes around to the plate with Hall there to greet him. The huskily built Detroit shortstop heads for the dugout with the National League lead now only 5-3.
American Leaguers to their first round. We've got a brand new ball game here.
Bouncing ball foul. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bottom half of the 5th inning, National League 5, American League 3. 2 men out. Jim Maloney against Brooks Robinson. Hot shot. Santo knocks it down and cannot get him. Ernie Banks got out there. Santo, a fine recovery. But Brooks Robinson beats it out there. Santo made 2 quick steps to his right.
Brooks Robinson, who won the Most Valuable Player award last year, is the next batter. And Robbie slashes the ball down the third base line. Ron Santos rushes across and manages to get his glove on it. The ball caroms away across the foul line. Santo recovers it and gets off the long throw to first base. It hits the dirt, but the direction is perfect, and Ernie Banks grabs it cleanly. The play is close, but Robbie beats it out for a hit.
Here is the local hero, Harmon Killebrew.
He was looking for what you were looking for.
There's the fastball, and there she goes. This ball game is tied up.
But the killer unloads on this one, and he knows it's gone, taking a look himself before shifting into his home run trot. Brooks Robinson had some applause of his own as he scored. As Killebrew rounds third base, Colavito and Robbie are at the plate to greet him. Killebrew's manager, Sam Neely, coaching at first base, is sharing the joy along with the Twins' home crowd. That blast by the Minnesota Mauler has tied the score at 5-5, and Gene Mauch goes out to change pitchers.
Here's the replay coming up, and watch him go into this fastball and catch Mays as he knows it's gone. You think Killebrew didn't know that was gone with the first swing? Look at Willie on the right-hand side of your screen. Just watch it. 411 feet from home plate. And he has really been the hero here in the Twin Cities area. as he hit a home run with a 3-2 count, 2 outs on Sunday to beat the Yankees.
Decided 5-0. We said that's going to take the running away from both ball clubs, but that's another aspect we might look for now.
That's what Drysdale looks like from the batter's box. 1 ball, 2 strikes. If you ever wonder what the ball players think about when they see Drysdale, like you just saw him, Dick Grote put it best. He said hitting against Drysdale is like a trip to the dentist. Bouncing ball, Pete Rose at second base. In time to get Colavito. That ends it for the American League. And so at the end of the 5th inning, the score in National League 5 and the American League 5. Hall goes into center field. There is Ernie Banks, who will lead it off for the National League. Here's a close-up of Sam McDowell. Popped up, Bill Freehan and Killebrew. Freehan's very good on the pop flies, and he makes the play, and attaboy, Bill. And here is Pete Rose. And Pete has the very colorful nickname. I like this. They call him Charlie Hustle. Oh. Strikeout. Pete Rose is out on strikes. American League pitchers. And here is Maury Wills, who bounced out right back to the pitcher back in the 1st inning and flied to right. And if he gets on this time, he'll really shift the gears. Fly ball, center field. Jimmy Hall coming in fast, can't get it. Maury Wills is on with a single. Colavito almost dared Wills, but he has that pet play. If you throw behind him, he'll head for second, and now the crowd generates a little bit of electricity here, and there's a conference between Freehan, Killebrew, and McDowell, and Cincinnati Reds. There you see him.
Quick use of Drysdale, and he pitched to only 1 man, and he's through in the ball game. And now you have a little touchy situation.
He struck him out. Sam McDowell gets Frank Robinson. Second strikeout in this inning, that ends it. And so at the middle of the 6th inning, the score is National League 5, American League 5. All tied up 5-5. And the new pitcher coming in for the National League, Sandy Koufax.
While he's healthy, Mr. Koufax is the boss. However, we're dealing with quite a lineup, and we'll see with Horton, Richardson, and the pitcher McDowell, and there's nothing doing in the American League bullpen. So we'll
quite regularly. I'll see if Lopez turns him loose. Takes it high, ball 4, and Horton is on with the base on balls. And this little fella can do it all. There he goes, swung on a fly ball, deep left center field. Willie Mays cutting over and makes the play. And Willie Horton has to retrace his steps. Richardson played a little bit of long ball here and fly deep to left center field. Bottom of the 6th. Swung on and popped up. Maury Wills flips the glasses, taking charge, and makes the play. Koufax changed speeds, took a little bit off the pitch, and Versailles was way out in front. Fastball is high, ball 1.
You're right here. I suppose we should mention Mickey Mantle and Moose Skowron, both of whom had to bow out of the All Star Game after being voted in.
Ball 4 and Freehan. Fastball, just threw it right by him. Jimmy Hall is out on strikes. He knew it. And at the end of the 6th inning, the score, National League 5, the American League.
Sandy Koufax of the Dodgers enters the game as the National League pitcher in the 6th inning. And manager Mock gives the lineup change. The great left-hander breezes through the inning without any trouble.
All tied up, 5-5. Harmon Killebrew, local boy makes good, tied it up with a tremendous shot. now it'll be Willie Mays.
And when he comes up there, you got to expect a little action. Talking about Aaron.
3 balls, 2 strikes on Say Hey Willie in the plate. Ball 4. Willie Mays is on. Let's see. First base on balls given up by McDowell. Aaron flying to left, hit into a double play and popped to the shortstop. Base hit to right field. Mays is rounding second. He's going to come on over. And it's first and third. Nobody out for the National League. And Roberto Clemente will be the pinch hitter for Willie Stargell.
Sammy McDowell, Cleveland smoke baller, loosens up for the National League 7th inning. After Willie Mays leads off the inning with a walk, McDowell tries to regain his control. Hank Aaron finds one he likes and singles into right field. Mays dashes for third and makes it easily. With 2 on and none out, Mock switches to the right-handed Roberto Clemente to hit for the left-handed Willie Stargell.
Out, 5-5 the score. Bouncing ball. Robinson goes to second base to Richardson, and Willie Mays just dared him. And Mays stayed at third base, dared Richardson. There was no play at first.
McDowell fires, and Clemente swings at a sinking pitch. Brooks Robinson cuts in front of the shortstop, scoops up the ball, and throws on the move to Bobby Richardson for a force out of Aaron at second base. Mays, who represents the lead run, returns to third, and the score remains tied.
A rundown and hoped to move him up a couple bases, but he didn't. There's Clemente.
And by staying where he was, and he would have come home had Richardson thrown the ball to first. You can bet on that.
Bouncing ball up the middle, and Versailles cannot make the play. Willie Mays scores. It's a 6-5 ball game. Bobby Richardson and Versailles crossed over. Versailles could not make the play at first base. Santo has a base hit, and it's 6-5. National League out in front.
With 1 out now, Santo slashes a bouncer over McDowell's head. Richardson and Versailles converge on the ball. Bobby backhands it, but can't hold on. It caroms toward Versailles, and it also pops out of his grasp, but he spears it on the second try. Then whirls and fires to first. He just misses getting Santo, and it's a big hit for Ron. Mays has scored, and the National League leads 6-5.
Fans are wondering, McDowell is on his own. Here's that play again, and you could see that their only possible chance was at first base, and they couldn't get that one when Versailles couldn't handle the ball.
Joe Torre is up there now, and he has really hit the ball hard. He had a 2-run homer and then lined out hard twice. Bouncing ball to McDowell. He goes to Bobby Richardson in second. 1 out over the first, a double play. 1-4-3. A double play. National League takes the lead, and so at the middle of the 7th inning, the score is National League 6 and the American League 5.
With Clemente now at second and Santo on first, Torre steps to the plate. McDowell delivers, and Torre smashes the ball straight back at him. McDowell grabs it, and the Cleveland lefty whirls and throws to Richardson at second in a bid for a double play. Santo is out at second. Bobby whips the ball to Killebrew, and they also get Torre, and they're out of the inning. But the American League still trails 6-5.
Well, the National League new pitcher now is Dick Farrell. Have action in the bullpen for the American League, as we're going to have a pinch hitter coming up, and you'll hear a tremendous hand for this pinch hitter, who is Tony Oliva from the Minnesota Twins.
That extends the record he already held.
Tony Oliva. Oliva, who, as you watch the different habits of these hitters, this fellow constantly go to his mouth to keep his hands moist. Bouncing ball up the middle. Rose will have a close play, and a just to get him. A high bouncing ball. Front.
Rose made a good play, Joe. Got a lot on that ball from the position in which he found himself.
Popped up Ernie Banks in foul territory. And Banks makes the play. 2 away.
That fastball and slider.
Strength against strength right here. Harmon Killebrew tied it up with a tremendous home run. A good fastball hitter against. Waist up. Tremendous power. It's like a baking soda ad. Ball 4. Killebrew draws the walk. And then base on balls in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. Calavito, who bounced out, single to left, and bounced out to the second baseman. 2 men out, 6-5, National League leading. Bottom. Off the end of the bat in a foul ball, Santo and Wills, and Santo takes it. And so at the end of the 7th inning, the score is the National League 6 and the American League 5.
A change for the National League at shortstop, replacing Mario Wills. Leo Cardenas, Chico, fine fielding shortstop of the Cincinnati Ball Club, and coming in to pitch is Bob Gibson of the St. Louis Cardinals. And the hard-throwing right-hander is 10-7, won his first 8 games of the year, lost his next 6. And here's Willie Horton leading off. 1 for the American in the 4th, the 4-run rally in the 5th tied it, and the National Leaguers got 1 in the 7th, driven in by Santo. 2-2, got him with a breaking ball. So Horton is 0 for 3, and Gibson fans the first man he takes on.
Number 1.
1 at bat in the game, he flied to left. 1 for the second baseman, Pete Rose. Richardson hit it off the end of the bat, and there are 2 out. Pronunciation, doesn't he, Joe?
Well, you go up to him, and he'll give it to you as often as you want to ask for.
Big hitters may not come up again for the American League. Ball 4. Torrey can throw and Versailles can run. What will happen, if anything? Freehand, a base hit. Let's see if Versailles tries to go to third. He's trying, and Mays got a crack at him. Safe. The other runner to second, and no throw. So it's second and third with 2 out. Let's watch the play again.
Here's the, watch him challenge him when he gets around second base. He took a look at him, stumbled a little bit, but kept on coming, and Santo dropped it in the act of throwing.
You'll believe he would have had him. Freehand was only about halfway down to second base. The bag was covered by Rose, so there was a key play in this ball game. Nice to get Jim Hall, who has walked, scored, and struck out in this game. Fly ball for Willie Mays. And he almost fell down, but got the ball. Mays started in, and when he tried to go back, his feet went out from under him. He ended up leaning on one hand and then went back and had to leave. Willie didn't panic. He made the catch, and the American League leaves 2 men on.
Bob Gibson, who led the Cardinals to the World Championship last year, pitches in the 8th and holds the American League in check.
6-5. Things are the same for the American Leaguers. Fisher and Freehand forming the battery. Alvis at third. Rosales at shortstop. Richardson at second base and Killebrew at first. Horton in left. Hall in center and Oliva in right. And Hank Aaron leading off for the team directed by Gene Mock. Leading off. There, the high fly ball to left to Horton. And he makes the catch. Even a routine fly ball like that scares you in this ballpark.
Number 21.
0 for 1. There's 1 to the shortstop. Versailles throws him out. It was 5-0. It's now 6-5. Here's Santo, who drove in the lead run in the 7th with an infield single. And another one for Versailles. 1, 2, 3. So, an exciting last of the ninth is coming.
Both managers have used a lot of players, and here it is, bottom of the ninth inning, a one-run lead for the National League. So it's been a good ball game with the fans getting a chance to see a lot of the players that they wouldn't ordinarily get to see.
The National League has not used Callison of the Phillies, Johnny Edwards of the Reds, and Ed Cranepool of the Mets, along with Sammy Ellis, the Cincinnati pitcher, and Bob Beal of the Pirates. Those are the only players that haven't gotten into the game. Here's Tony Oliva leading off in the bottom of the ninth against Bob Gibson, who's trying to nail down the win for the National League. There's a base hit into left center field, an extra base hit, and that'll be the tying run on either second or third. And it's a double for Oliva to start the bottom of the ninth.
Gibson rifles a pitch over the outside corner, and Oliva meets it perfectly. He drives it into left center. Clemente dashes across the field to field the ball. He's having trouble picking it up. He finally does, and the Pittsburgh outfielder, who has one of the strongest arms in the game, fires into the infield. But the flying Oliva races into second base with a two-base hit, and the American League has the tying run on second with nobody out. Gibson obviously now has his work cut out for him. Bob Gibson pitches to Max Alvis, and the Indian star tries to bunt. It's a little pop-up near the mound, and Gibson calls for it himself. He grabs it for the first out.
Bunting, just what will they be doing? Alvis is the batter. He bunts in the air, and Gibson's going to get it. Well, they wasted it out there, as it turned out, because Alvis got the ball up in the air, and here's Killebrew.
Bob Gibson pitches to Max Alvis, and the Indian star tries to bunt. It's a little pop-up near the mound, and Gibson calls for it himself. He grabs it for the first out.
The bunt by Alvis.
Yes, sir. The little bunt, the ground ball to the right side would have picked up the extra base, which is what Al Lopez wanted to do, give an out for a base, but he gave up the out and didn't get it.
6-5, National League. The American League has the tying run at second with one out. And Killebrew strikes out. Gibson threw it by him at the knees. And Joe Torre giving Gibson that old pep talk, shaking the fist at him.
Gibson reaches back for something extra, and Killebrew strikes out. The home run slugger walks dejectedly back to the bench, and the last American League hope now is Joe Pepitone of the Yankees.
In on him, strike one. A great ball game here. We hope that you've been with us all the way. Gibson to Pepitone, and ball three. He almost chased it. Full count, 3-2. And we're on hand. Still are. 3-2 to the hitter. What will Gibson throw? That's the winning run. He struck him out, and the ball game is over, and the National League won it. 6-5. 2 strikeouts in the inning, under pressure by Bob Gibson, who said before the game there wasn't a way in the world he could possibly work in the ball game.
Gibson gathers his strength for one supreme effort, and Pepitone strikes out. The National League wins a real last-ditch thriller, 6-5. Joe Torre and Ron Santo are first to congratulate Gibson on his spectacular finish. It's a glorious victory for the National League, which now leads for the first time in all-star competition. But the biggest winners of all are the millions of fans across the country who get the thrill of seeing all of baseball's superstars gathered together on one field in these annual Midsummer Classics.
Leadoff double by Oliva is wasted. 8 men stranded by the American League. The National League wins it by the score of 6-5. It was a dandy, Joe.
Yes, it was, Jack. It was a game, as we said earlier, that saw a lot of ball players, and yet a ball game that went down right down to the last pitch, 3-2, when Gibson, in a jam, was able to get Pepitone. 6-5, a tremendous ball game here. The winner was Koufax, the loser was McDowell.